We'll call the public hearing to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Bell?
Here.
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Grant?
Here.
Trustee Kuzinski? Here. Trustee Todd? Here. Trustee Williams? Here.
Okay. Before we get into the discussion, I'd like to read this recap into the official record for this public hearing for the fiscal year of 2020 to 2021, which began May 1st, 2020. The total expenditures and amount appropriated for the Village of Sauk Village shall be $13,714,667. And the following is broken down within the draft budget, which was posted by the village in accordance with the law as follows. Administration, $1,487,020. Elected officials, $117,682. Public grounds and buildings, $108,500. Streets, $14,000. Police department, $3,276,113. Fire department, $556,134. Emergency services and disaster, $35,735. Parks and playgrounds, $17,676. Audit, $145,000. Insurance, $496,000. Motor fuel and tax fund, $493,000. Drug seizure fund, $85,000. Water fund, $1,419,462. Sewer fund, $934,486. Utility tax fund, $115,084. CDBG and IHDA IDA grant, $75,000. TIF 2 fund, $889,699. TIF 3 fund, $3,419,084. And TIF 4 fund, $29,992. Okay, at this time, I'll invite members of the public who wish to enter into comments for the record with respect of the village appropriations and budget to come forward. I don't know how long we're going to wait. Pardon me? Yeah, okay, someone's coming up now. I got to Yes, please state your name for the record. Wait a minute, that mic's not, for some reason that mic's not working. Huh? Yeah, I'm just saying the mic's not working for some reason. Go ahead. Oh.
I've got one quick question. The figure that you just read off, could we have a copy of that to look at?
Sure.
Not that I don't, I have any doubts about it, but I just want to look at it. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see anyone coming up to the mic, so we're gonna have the treasurer, has a few things he wants to bring for the record.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, residents. Want to make a slight correction to what was stated by the mayor regarding the FY21 appropriation. The actual number, especially for those that have copies, is $13,671,001. What was discovered today, I made a mistake and double counted individuals within the administration department, part-time workers, to a tune of $50,000. So that brought the overall appropriation expenses down. So that's one of the changes that was not on the original appropriation that was set out for review. So the actual total appropriation for FY21 is $13,671 and $1.
13 million.
I'm sorry, 13 million. Yes, 13 million.
Be nice with 13,000.
The other thing that, for those that have a copy of the budget, you would see that the last page relates to transfers. We've always done transfers throughout the municipality for different reasons, transferring back to the general fund. This year is roughly a total of $2,205,186, of which $400,000 is coming out of the water fund, $225,000 roughly is coming out of the reserve. Currently, we are in the process of getting some expenses that are related to COVID reimbursed back to the village. The max we can get back is $586,000. If we get a portion or a good portion of that money back, that would lessen the burden that we have to transfer money from the water fund. Going forward, like we did last year, the transfer of the water fund that you see of $400,000 and the $225,000 reserve, that more than likely would not be touched until probably March or February, March of next year. So hopefully once we get the COVID reimbursement money, we won't have to touch the water funds or any reserve at that time. So I just want to make you all aware that even though it's in the budget to potentially be used for operation expense in the general fund, hopefully we will not have to touch it, and if we do, it will be a very small amount. But that will be provided throughout the year from the new finance director when and if she deemed it necessary to get permission to transfer those funds. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Again, I'll ask if there are any questions from the public? Public comment? Scheduled for a whole hour. Okay, well, I guess we'll have a nice recess. This is public. This is only for this is a public hearing.
I just need some clarity on something that's potentially said. Oh, I'm sorry. You say go ahead.
Okay, because I understand what you're saying. We did ours, but if you have a question for him, please go ahead.
Can you go back and use the mic, please? Mr. Finch, can you go back over the what you said about $400,000? I didn't have time to write all that down. About the $400,000, can you repeat that?
To overall balance the general fund for FY21, there's a $625,000 gap deficit in the general fund. To cover that gap, the plan is to take $400,000 out of the water fund and $225,000 out of the current reserve funds that we have now at the bank.
Out of the reserve.
Yes, with the anticipated money we get back that's related to the COVID expenses, most of that $625,000 we would not need. Hopefully we get majority of the reimbursement back by the end of December. The $400,000 I spoke of as well as the 225, that money probably will not be needed until the end of fourth quarter next year, which is, like I said, February and March.
Okay, won't need till February, March. Okay, and I have some specific questions about something that's in the budget.
Okay.
Do we ask that here, or when we can ask some questions about the budget?
Trustee, I thought that was done weeks prior when we had this is supposed to be the public hearing, so we have time. So I'm just saying now, usually this is just for the public. We had time to go back and forth with the treasurer, but I'll go ahead and allow, because this was supposed to be taken care of, and we're just relaying what we have and what we've gone over in our sessions to the public now and asking them if they have any questions. But okay, go ahead, Trustee.
I have a couple of questions, Mr. Finch. I want to say it's on page 6. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's page 9. I don't recall, and I didn't take notes on everything, but we have a line item here for school officer for $15,131. Is that something?
That's the portion for the police chief officer being over at the school that we have to pay part of that salary. I think it's a 75-25% split, where the school district pick up 75% of his salary and benefits.
That's what I need you to know. Secondly is, got another question in here. Now, on the last page where it says bonds and loans, and this is where it says the $370,000 real estate tax, that's the line of credit, is going to be, that's the one you're talking about we're not going to use or something, or?
No, that's, we have a line of credit of $500,000, and then we also have money that we set aside in the CD. The line of credit we can use, so we do have to draw it down. It'd be part of the 225.
Oh, okay, so that's part of that, okay? And also, I think this will be the last question, as I know we had we have big discussions about the job descriptions and the position description, but on the page, the very first one where we put in $90,000 for the director of finance, okay? I do believe that's wrong. It should be $45,000 because she's not here a full year. And I don't see any place where they put in your salary for the time that you spent here. So, in fact, it's on page 10. So I'm wondering, if I'm not mistaken, according to what the attorneys said, that you have to have a line item in there for the interim director that should be included, and the director of finance salary should be $45,000. It should be included. They say it has to be according to state statute, but it's not included on this budget. Well, it should be separated and be identified as a separate item. So it's on page 10, what is said Director of Finance. Now, this is what I'm getting from the attorneys, where they said that it has to be specified on who's getting paid what. And if I'm not mistaken, this finance director, because she's only here for the half of the year, that it shouldn't be that you have to put your line item in there too and put your salary in there. Now, that's the way I understand it. There's something different. Let me know, because we're in the midst of doing these job descriptions, which we know had to be approved before we do this budget.
Okay. The $90,000 for Director of Finance, that position does include my salary from the beginning of the year. To a degree, I disagree with the attorney as far as interim finance director. having to be a line item. I've never seen it in the budget. He's correct that line items do need to be approved, and for the most part, do have to have an ordinance. But regarding my salary, it's under the Director of Finance, that expense line item. So technically, it is counted for as part of the 90,000 that started this May through April of next year.
I'm in agreement with the amount, but it says it has to be specified in the budget. You have to have your, interim finance director in there and how much it costs.
We could separate it.
Okay, that's the way it's, according to the attorney, so we
And
need to follow
unfortunately, I
this
think on
lead.
that one, the attorney, I think he's wrong.
Huh?
Unfortunately, on that one about interim finance being an ordinance or anything like that, I think he's wrong. Now,
Okay.
as far as breaking it out, it's just a matter of semantics.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you want it broken out and it says interim finance director, that's fine. Then that's not a big issue.
Okay,
issue-
so if we could get that broken out, and also, can we have page numbers on these? I always ask you that.
Okay.
It takes you so long just to find a page. But those are the few questions that I need to answer, and I don't know, what is your take on these, do you have any take on these job descriptions that have to be approved before the budget is going on?
I think the only one that needs to be approved is the Director of Finance. I don't think anybody that's not a department head needs an ordinance. Because if you start doing that, then you need an ordinance for public part-time workers. You need an ordinance for temporary workers. Now you get into more unnecessary expenses. And then if you have staff members that have an ordinance, what happens if you change job titles? I know last year we discussed changing one particular job title. So will we go back to the attorney to redo another ordinance because the job title changed? That's extra money. So I just think it should be pertaining to those titles that are within the state statute and department heads.
Well, I understand your dilemma, but you got to understand ours too. We have to follow a, vote in our best interest, according to what the attorney told us. And if he, in his opinion that we need this, I think it needs to be changed, and also we need to get to going with these job descriptions right away. So that's the end of my comment.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since we're talking about what's in job descriptions and in recommendations from our attorney, I submitted, after I was looking at correspondence between you guys, I submitted to the attorney a question, and I asked him to show me explicitly where it states that we need an ordinance for every job duty that we have here. He was not able, I can't say he was not able, I will say he did not submit that. So sometimes our attorney can err on the side of what the desires of our trustees are. But just because he does that does not make that law, and that's the piece that we have to research. So as we look at making certain that we're doing due diligence, as you all are, in terms of being trustees, then I'm going to steal. What do I keep saying? If it's not a cookbook where all the directions are there for you, sometimes as our leaders and our officials who are representing the village of Sauk Village, you must do your own research if it's not being given to you. I asked for it because I've never seen it. So I thought maybe he could point me someplace that I maybe had omitted, but he did not. So now it's up for this board to decide, where does it say in code and your ordinances that for every position that you have, that you're going to need an ordinance. I invite you to do that as you continue to move forward.
Trustee Williams.
Thank you. I just have one question. When are we going to pass this budget? I just have one question. When are we going to pass this budget?
As soon as we, I guess we have to vote on, I was told that the board didn't want to pass until the ordinance was voted on, so that is discussed and voted on. Hopefully we'll have that done by the second week of October, so second Tuesday of October.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Mayor, yes, I understand that there was some ordinance that just recently got brought into this discussion, and I actually asked that that ordinance be presented at a 5:30 meeting today so we could move forward with passing the budget. I don't want to wait till the middle of October to pass this budget. If it's only simply a matter of an ordinance, then I think we should pass the ordinance and pass this budget. There's a lot of people that are waiting for past retro pay and other things. I thought we were going to pass this budget today. This is a paper budget. Things could change, and the ordinance that was needed could have been done even after the fact. We've had a finance director for 63 years. I don't see why I wouldn't have waited 2 weeks to have a finance director. I was really hoping to pass this budget today, so I am not in favor of waiting till the middle of October to pass the budget. That's just me.
Okay, well, it was told to me that the budget would not be passed or even voted on unless the ordinance was approved. The ordinance has to be talked about, written, and you're absolutely right. I've been trustee since 2006. I've never seen an ordinance or anything like that for that reason. So, but now, the way it is, if you want to have a special meeting, to do that, that's the only way you're going to be able to do it before October, I think it's the second.
It was never discussed that we needed to have an ordinance. It was never discussed.
No, it was told to me.
Okay, it was told to you, but the other trustees were ready to move forward.
Okay, well,
we were ready to move forward, and we don't want to wait.
It was told to me that the trustees would not entertain that until that ordinance.
There's 6 trustees.
Okay, I'm just saying what was told to me.
I have
Yes, sir.
a question. Are the ordinances ready? Because I've never seen them. So are they ready?
We've never discussed it.
I mean, but are they ready?
I've never seen an ordinance. I've never seen an ordinance.
Can I make a suggestion? Like you just alluded to, Mayor and Trustee Williams, if these positions has been in the budget for several years, passing the budget tonight doesn't change the fact that we have people in those positions.
You can't do that tonight.
Well, you can't do it.
You can't do that
Pass it
tonight.
Why can't we?
It's not on the agenda.
Oh, well, never mind. But my question, my comment was, if it was on the agenda, pass it tonight and then do the ordinance later, whatever got to be modified. Because we have people working. It's not like you saying, we're not going to pay these people anymore. It's just, it's semantics on what's right, what's proper. Like Madam Clerk just said, we still got to do research. I don't think staff members need to be in the ordinance. I just find it unfortunate that here we are again at the 11th hour making another change, and the person that recommended, whether it's attorney or the trustee, been here for the last 4 months, and this is the first time it's coming up. So it's not fair to the employees that's going to have to wait to get paid, because nothing's getting paid until this budget's passed. So that's my comment on that.
Okay, right now, we're dealing with this public hearing. And if there's anything else, any questions about the budget from the public, this is what this is about. Not us going back and forth on something that, was talked about, and it was told to me that, we needed to do this, this, and this. So that I didn't take it upon myself not to do that. It was told to me that we needed an ordinance, and without that ordinance, then the board wouldn't vote on it. So the lawyers did tell me that there was ordinance needed, and I asked the same question that the clerk asked. Show me where it states that you have to have an ordinance for that particular position before that particular position is put into the budget we voted on. Okay, with that being said,
We're not going to have any more discussions about this matter?
not about this matter. If it's about, right now, we're going off topic. Right now, we're supposed to be if you have any questions about the budget itself, this is a public hearing for the audience, not for the trustees to go back and forth. We had our time when we were going back and forth about different items on the budget. Because we can stay here, until 7 o'clock doing that back and forth, but right now, staying on topic, we're supposed to be allowing the public, if they have any questions about the budget, to speak on it. We did that. If there was any questions?
Did I ask a question? I didn't think of it.
You didn't hear me when I said the question?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
In Pat Couch, in plain English, could you tell us what is holding up the budget? Plain English, how much longer does it take to say yay or nay? You've got it all down here in black and white. The budget needs to be passed. How much longer are you going to pussyfoot around this thing? Let's get it passed. If you've got employees not getting paid, they need to get paid. So what's dragging their feet? Time to get it done.
As I stated, as I stated before, it was told to me by the lawyers and trustees that they wanted to have an ordinance for positions. One of the positions was finance director. I think there was another one for community development director, and I'm not sure if there was. Oh, yeah, assistant finance director, and then the fire administrator, the chief of administration in the fire department. So they wanted, that's what was told to me by the lawyers, that those ordinances, without those ordinances, we couldn't pass the budget. So quite naturally, we just can't throw ordinances in there, so therefore they have to be comprised and voted on and talked about. All this was told to me end of last week. I think it was Thursday or Friday. Well, we didn't have all that. It was suggested that we rush, or not rush, but go ahead and do that without the budget. If that was the case, then why was it brought up? Why? I'm not making this up. Why was it brought up that we weren't going to pass the budget until such time these ordinances were passed and voted on? So right now, it's not a matter of somebody holding it up. This is what was told to me by the lawyers. I asked the lawyers again to show me where it says, in whatever code book they want to go with, where we have to have these ordinances to pass a budget. I have yet to have that. So right now we're waiting to get a ordinance, to talk about it, to discuss it, and then quite naturally vote on it. And then once that is taken care of, I understand that we can go ahead and pass the budget. I'm like you, Ms. Couch, what's holding it up? But that's what was told to me, and I'm only going by that. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot. Trustee Bell. Trustee Bell.
Was it, Mr. Mayor, was it a trustee, or the trustees?
It was told to me to be trustees.
Well,
That's what was told.
Can we do a consensus?
Pardon
Can
me?
we
No,
do-
I didn't do a consensus.
Can we do a consensus?
It doesn't matter now. You can't pass it now anyway.
We could have a special meeting on Tuesday night.
I don't want to
You
wait
mean
till
a fifth Tuesday? That's next Tuesday, the fifth Tuesday.
That's fine.
So if this board wants to have a board meeting on the fifth Tuesday, but here's my problem. You have to have an ordinance first. So you want to have the ordinance before at a committee type meeting, and then at a board or the regular meeting to vote on it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, wait, hold. See, that's the problem I'm having. You're saying yes.
Well, the clerk is shaking her head no, but the trustees are supposed to be in charge.
Okay, but you're like you said before, you're one trustee. You're one trustee. I'm asking the trustees now, and I'll say it again. Do you want to have a special meeting next Tuesday for the ordinance to discuss it? First of all, in order to have it discussed, it has to be written. Because I'm going to see what this is going to be myself. Because like I said, I've never seen anything. So and the question is, what position are we talking about? Because I don't understand why is all of a sudden now this is a point, and all these years finance director is never an ordinance for that. And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I was talking about an appropriation ordinance.
No. appropriation ordinance is done after you vote the budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
No, that's automatic. I'm not talking about that.
Like
We're talking about
Mr.
ordinance
Finch
for-
said, we've had a finance director for 61
Well,
years,
that's
63
what was
years.
said, that the lawyers made a statement that they had to have an ordinance for a position that's in the budget before that budget is passed. That's what the lawyers had said. So. Trustee Todd.
Okay, first of all, when you say "they," you're talking about the trustees. I'm not aware of this ordinance, that we had to do this ordinance. I want to see a special meeting. Let's get this budget passed. We've already agreed on it. We have no more discussion about the budget. And if we have to put an ordinance in place, you do it after the budget, just like we can amend a budget. So I don't know what it is with this ordinance, because we've always had a finance director. We've had different positions and never had to have it.
Were you told that ordinance had to be put in place?
I'd only seen.
Were you told by the lawyers that?
I was not told by the lawyers.
Who were you told?
No, what you're just saying.
Okay,
That
this is
you
the
were
first
told
time you
that
heard
the
about
trustees,
This is the first time you heard about it?
that they needed an ordinance for the finance director position.
No, I'm talking about this is the first time you heard that an ordinance has to be passed before the budget is.
I don't know that it had to be passed before we did the budget. I know there was talk of an ordinance. I'd seen some correspondence on it. My thing is, pass the budget. I don't see why we have to have an ordinance.
I don't
I'm not
either, but
understanding. But I want you to understand when you say "they," you're talking about the trustees.
Yeah.
I was not aware this is holding up the budget.
This is what was told to
So
me.
I wish you would have reached out to the trustees on Friday saying, "This is what I've been
I
told."
thought with the way I was brought to me, if that was the case, I thought the trustees already had said that because that's what was told to me. Then you all need to talk to the lawyers. The lawyers are the one that told me that without this, we can't vote on it, and that's what the trustees want.
Well, can we please just have a special meeting to pass this budget and not wait till
So in
October?
other words, you don't want a ordinance.
We could do it after, if that's what's required.
If this required, then
You can't.
If it's required.
okay. So we're gonna bend the road. Okay. So,
I have a
Trustee,
comment first.
Kaczynski, I think was next.
I was here first. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, according to this, and I think everybody got it because it says President Burgess and the Board of Trustees dated September 8, where it indicates that only appointed officers have to be, according to the statutes, when they're created, it has to be done by ordinance. Now, as you know, since May of 2017, positions have been put in place without the advice and consent of the board. So, anyway, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I got the floor. Will you please let me say what I gotta say?
You're speaking out.
Will you please let me say what I gotta say? Okay? So according to this memo that we got, that you have to have an ordinance, and it clarifies state statute when we're reading this. And I also outlined the different positions that's already here on board. Now, there's a couple positions here in this budget, and since 2017 have been appointed without the advice and consent of the board. According to this memo dated September 8th, they have to have a bond and all this sort of stuff. I understand that the employees are being paid, so there's no problem. It's just a matter of getting this paperwork in place. And then, as I understand it, the attorney sent out correspondence to everybody saying this had to be done before the budget is passed. Now, are we not following what the attorney's saying, or are we just going to go on and approve these job descriptions, or either the employment of these people without being approved? Now, these positions need to be approved. They were illegally appointed, and I say that, and I've been saying that since 2017. Why can't we just go on and do the ordinance and get this stuff done? It's illegal.
The answer to your question, I like your choice of words, but illegal means that we did something that was wrong.
Exactly.
I understand that. I don't know what position that you claim that was approved without consent of the board.
Okay.
So, but.
I can give you specific positions if you want that.
Trustee, I listened to you. I didn't say nothing. I listened to you, and I didn't say anything. I listened to everything you had to say. Would you please give me the same?
Okay, go on.
Go on. Oh, okay. Thank you. So, what we're trying to find out today, and you just made the statement. If you guys want to have a special meeting for that, or you don't want to have a meeting and you just want to actually vote on the budget, I need to know that. I need to know if you want to forego this ordinance and vote on the budget and set a date when you want to come and do that. I have no problem with that. So what I'll do now is go around and get a consensus so it'll be on the record. So I'm just asking, we're in trustee.
Yeah, you just can't ignore what the attorney's saying. That's what I'm saying. We need to follow their directions.
Madam Clerk, Madam Clerk, we're in the assembly, so therefore it is a, we still will call the order. Everybody wants to talk. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to clarify something, and I apologize for intervening.
Use the mic.
I'm sorry. You're a village board. You know you can vote on things and not vote on things. It's very simple. Your village attorney made a recommendation. He thought that passing this budget without passing these ordinances first would not be a correct situation. You can still do so. It's just a recommendation from your attorney. My recommendation is we can get the ordinance here this week to the clerk as quickly as possible. If we have it in time to get it on the agenda, vote for the ordinance first and vote for the budget if you wish. If that works for you, we can do whatever needs to get done as long as there's enough time the clerk to have enough time to put it together and to notify the public, make sure it's listed, and make sure that it's posted. That's workable. We can move that forward and then you can pass the budget. Or we can wait till the second week of October and that can be passed on, I think it's the 13th. But that was just the advice of your attorney. That's what you will pay your attorneys for. If you want to follow that advice, that's always a very good idea. But that's not a mandate. It's a recommendation from your attorney what he thinks he views the law as. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Trustee Grant?
Ms. Herky, so I understand that, but the way it was worded, it seemed as if we didn't pass the ordinance first before the budget, that we were in violation of the Illinois Municipal Code. That's what it sounded like to me as I read it. So, however, but what I still don't understand is, 63 years we've been incorporated, and we've never, well, I can't go back that far, but as long as I know, we've never had to have an ordinance in place. So I don't understand why it's such a big deal right now. So I feel like it can wait. However, we never discussed, because I saw 3 or 4 different ordinances that would need to be presented. We never discussed which 3 or which positions need to have an ordinance. Because I'm hearing that department heads only, I'm hearing everybody. So like as a board, as a body, we never discussed that. So I think we need to take that consideration first before we send something over to the clerk and say, hey, put this together. Because I don't want to get to the meeting on Tuesday or whatever it may be, and there's discord according to what positions we have an ordinance and don't have an ordinance for. So I feel like this can wait, because I mean, obviously this is a public hearing, and this can wait to the next meeting, or something figure out as a board first before we go to the next step.
Okay, just about did the whole hour. I'll ask for a consensus in other words, to not have a ordinance and have a vote for the budget next week. Next Tuesday would probably be the best time because it's the 5th Tuesday. To have a special meeting for the codification of the budget. So I'll ask for consensus if that's okay to do that. And the ordinance is the ordinance, which I never got an answer from the lawyers in regards to that. So I'll start, Trustee Williams, yes or no?
No, because I think the attorney's coming here today and we need more clarification. This was not discussed. I thought the budget.
So wait a minute, y'all thought you said you didn't want this?
I thought the budget would be on the public hearing for approval, and if there was a reason why we weren't going to vote on it, that's when this discussion should have taken place. No, I'm not in favor of not having an ordinance, because I want to hear from the the lawyer why it's necessary. Maybe it is necessary.
Okay.
But I said, we've had a finance director for 63 years. We could have passed the budget and done the paperwork later. But I understand there's some positions that were created without an ordinance or approval of the board. There may be something we need to consider. So, no, I'm not going to say no.
I know you guys keep saying that there was positions created.
I'm not going to say no to no ordinance because I need more clarification.
Okay, so that's what okay, but you guys, you specifically stated that we can pass the ordinance later, let's move and approve.
I would have loved to have passed the budget today and done the paperwork later, but now we have to have another meeting anyway. So let's find out what we need.
Okay, so then okay. So you're not in favor of having a meeting next Tuesday, correct?
I am in favor of having a meeting next Tuesday, along with the reason why we need an ordinance, what ordinance do we need, and to actually discuss it as a board, because apparently there's been discussion that some of the board members are not aware of. I was ready to pass a budget today.
Well, there was nothing on here to pass. There was no.
We're not passing a budget
There was
today.
nothing on either agenda stating that we were passing the budget.
We wanted to.
I didn't say that. I said there was nothing on there, and there was nothing said. Trustee Bell. You got a headache, I'm sorry. Trustee Bell.
I would like to go through with the budget and pass the ordinance after.
Okay, Trustee Grant.
I'm in favor of having a meeting Tuesday, but I'll leave it at that. That's it. Go ahead. I'll leave it at that.
So you're in favor of having a meeting Tuesday and discussing and then pass the budget at a later date because
That day.
That day?
No, passing the budget on Tuesday, but doing the ordinances at a later date. I would like to hear Mr. McGrath today.
Wait a minute. You said you're okay. So I just want to make sure I got this correct. You want to have a meeting Tuesday to pass the budget, but have the ordinances passed at a later date.
Correct. Unless.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Is that okay? Trustee Todd.
I agree with Trustee Grant. Have the meeting on Tuesday, pass the budget, have another meeting to discuss these ordinances.
Trustee Brewer.
I think the attorney should be able to clear up any information that we might need today, and that if he clears up whatever we need today, then we could have the budget pass on Tuesday. You know, this is before well, you know what, this whole thing is confusing. You know, well, you know what, you know what, I would rather have the ordinances passed, because if we're violating the Illinois state statutes and we're not in compliance, I would rather have the ordinances passed. We could do them all in the same day, you know. So why don't we just do them all on the same day, but we just need some clarity on the ordinances, because it shouldn't be that many that we have to do.
We have to put an agenda together based on what we just stated and what you just
Well, what I just said, you know, because everybody's confused about this, I think we need some clarity today on the agenda for Tuesday, pass the ordinances, then pass the budget. That's it.
So are you agreeing to passing the budget on Tuesday? Or waiting until another time? That's
After the ordinances are done. We could do the ordinances on Tuesday, too.
Trustee Jazinski.
I think we should have the meeting and pass the budget next Tuesday. These positions have been filled for years, so I don't understand what the ordinances have to do with it. I mean, we can talk about that at a later date. Definitely, let's pass this budget.
Okay, so then I see it's 1, 2, 3, 4 for Tuesday to pass the budget and do the ordinances at a later date. So what we'll do is we'll draft up an agenda for Tuesday to pass the budget that we have in front of us. And even though the lawyer's going to come and discuss it, today will come and clarify whatever is going to be done. they can still do that and then at a later date. But I still like to see where does it say that we have to have an ordinance for that. So we'll put it on the agenda. That being said, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Bell, second by Trustee Todd. All in favor? Aye. Motion is adjourned for 10 minutes. We'll have the next. They never do that.